Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I am going to make a perfume bottle keychain, but I'm not just going to make a half a bottle like what this mould suggests. I'm going to make two of these, stick them together and make a more realistic shape of perfume bottle and hopefully decorate it up to make it look quite classy. So the second half is curing, so I'm just feeling this one to make sure it is totally flat, not underpoured at all, not overpoured, and it is lovely and smooth. So now I am painting a thin layer of UV resin on to use as a glue. When my second piece is cured, I will stick them together. You can buy these black nail polish bottles empty, so a set of empty bottles on Amazon, for storing UV resin for when you want to brush on thin layers like this. This is a problematic method for more than one reason. I'll show you another reason later, but the first reason is it slips about. Yeah, I know I just knocked it, but it does slip on its own accord as well. Take my word for it, I've made another and I moved it straight to the main light and it slipped and did not stick together in the correct position. So this one has stuck together in the correct position. The other problem is not clear at the moment, but it will become clearer later. Now I want to seal up those joins a little bit better, but I don't want to just resin over the join and create an extra layer of resin down the middle, so create a bump, a visible bump. So I am repainting the whole thing with resin, giving the whole thing another coat. I won't show you all of this on camera, but I do one section at a time. So at the moment I am just repainting the whole of the lid part. I'll cure that, then I'll do another section until I've done it all. Now to turn my attention to decorating. So I want to make this look a real classy, elegant perfume bottle, but I also want to cover up those join lines which are still visible. There's no way you're going to not make them visible, I don't think. So I have a long string of Diamanté. I'm going to cut them to size, two of them, to adhere to each side of the bottle. At first I tried just putting resin on each Diamanté. I don't know whether to call them Diamantés or diamonds. Anyway, because I don't want to create another bumpy layer of resin down the middle, which won't be hidden completely behind the diamonds. I'll still have some extra resin visible on this at the sides of the diamonds. That doesn't work. They don't stick properly, as you will see. Can I also say how much attention to detail? I am so proud of myself at how I am learning to focus on attention to detail with my UV projects. I think with epoxy, you're often doing a large project and little mistakes can be covered up, or a small mistake, even if it's visible, can be forgiven as long as the overall project is good. There's no hiding mistakes in little projects like this, so I'm having to really learn how to fix things, how to be more careful to not make mistakes in the first place. Giving it a little cure with the pen light first, just to make sure they won't move while I move them to the main light. Back from the main light, and I just test it to check it is stuck, and it is stuck where I touched it, but then I realised that the top diamond is not stuck, so I put some more resin on underneath that one to stick that back down, and then realised the bottom 3 or 4 diamonds were not stuck either. So I end up putting some resin on the whole of that surface again to adhere the diamonds from the side, and then also to level out the whole surface again. Okay, the first side is done. They are fully secured now, so I get to work on the other side. I support it with sticks to raise up the bottle so that the diamonds on the underside don't prevent my piece from sitting up straight. Again, just letting you see how much attention to detail I am putting into this project. I hope you'll agree at the end, it was worth it. I'd also like to take this opportunity to tell you about that mat that I am using. With a lot of jewellery videos, I am seeing people use silicone pads, which are thicker than silicone mats. Well, firstly, I can't find any online. And secondly, I thought, well, even if I could, why buy them when I can make my own? Now, I know that mine are round, but that's because I couldn't be bothered with making a square or rectangle housing. So I just used a little plastic dish that I had bought specifically to use as mould housing. I just put a thin layer of silicone on the bottom of this dish and created my own silicone pad. They're really handy for transporting your pieces to your light and back to your work surface. Back to this project. So now I am choosing my embellishments. This heart is pretty. It's a possibility. It's slightly faceted on the back, but not totally pointy, so that's a maybe. But then I also think it's a bit tacky, really, not classy. Another maybe is a little gold heart. But then I find this little gold rectangle and I'm like, that's the one. Okay, a little interruption here to show you the other problem with using resin as a glue in between my pieces. When I pressed it together, the glue didn't spread evenly, the resin didn't spread evenly, and therefore within the piece you can see areas where resin had settled and where it had not. So I am going to make a second bottle, but it's going to be exactly the same as this, so I'm still going ahead with choosing the rest of my embellishments. I'm not quite happy with just the gold rectangle. I think it needs a little something else. And I do choose one more item. I hope it still looks classy. Let me know what you think, whether the bow was too much. Okay, I've made my two halves again and they are lovely and smooth. I'm just going to show you briefly how I glue these two together. So I'm getting it ready on my dual light shelf and on top of my silicone pad, ready to transport to the light. This time I'm going to only paint resin on the outside, so I'm obviously covering the join, but as I said earlier, I don't want raised lumps of resin just over the join area. I want a smooth finish, so I am painting the whole of the outside again, like I did earlier, doing it in little sections, curing each section at a time, so that resin doesn't run from one section while I'm still painting another, and also so that I've got safe areas to touch. Once I've put resin on, give it a few moments to self-level, get rid of the brush lines, give it a quick cure with the pen light just to hold it secure before I move it to the main light. For this next section, I decide I want to make it a little bit more unique. Now here is a decision that I do regret. Let me know what you think in the comments. I make a few shapes from the cabochon mould because at this stage I'm undecided what I want to use and what I want to use them for. Okay, so whilst those cabochon moulds are curing, I'm now doing the top coating and sealing those side seams on the newest piece and putting the Diamanté strip on the sides again. Now I have UV resined two half spheres together to make a ball, and I am trying to stick that ball, or I am sticking that ball to the top of the lid. And here's where it starts to go wrong. I cannot remember why, but I decided to resin around the ball and the base of the ball and the top of the lid. The result of that is that the ball shape no longer has a rounded shape to the bottom of it. Or at least not a nicely defined shape. Now I'm getting ready to stick on my decorations. And I can't remember for the life of me why I am top coating it again. I seem to have skipped out a little bit here, but you will see it again in a moment because I'll do the other side as well. I am giving them a light sanding with a fairly smooth sandpaper to give the top coat something to key to. And now I am going to stick on the decorations.
Tiny glass dreams in my hand tonight, crystal shine in the soft UV light. Drop by drop, took the colors slow. Little world only I can know. Go to spark in a pastel glow. Seal it in, let the magic show. Tiny bottle of magic hanging by my side. Perfume dreams in resin light. Every moving captures the shine. Little piece of art forever mine. Floating hearts in a shimmer sea. Made in love, made carefully. Turn a key, let it gently sway. Pocket-sized joy every day. Glossy glass locked in time. Every sparkle says you're mine. Tiny bottle of magic hanging by my side. Perfume dreams and resin light.
Okay, so now I decide that I have messed up the shape of the ball. I decide I may as well try and make it look like it wasn't intended to be a ball in the first place. So I'm now using high viscosity resin to try and build up the shape of the square lid. And that part of it I don't mind too much. I've made it look kind of like a plump cushion with something sat on the top of it. The ball shape I'm not happy with, but nice plump cushion look to the square I'm quite happy with. Shortly I will be finishing the piece by attaching a keychain. Before I do that, I get out my bag of embellishments and find a couple that I might want to use. Those were bought from Temu, so I won't be able to link those. I end up having to ask my partner to screw in the eye screw off camera for me because I can't do it. The resin is too hard for me to drill through. I've slowed this bit down for you to show you a problem I had. These jump rings are pre-opened. Now when you open and close your own jump rings, you open them by pulling them straight sideways. Then when you close them straight sideways, the ends come neatly together. With these pre-opened ones, when I went straight sideways to close, they overlapped. So I had to get my needle nose pliers in there and force the ends apart until I'd created the right gap. I had to do it 2 or 3 times to create the right gap so that when I went straight sideways close again, they eventually found the correct position.
In a quiet room, late night glow, mixing dreams.
Glamour shots to follow any moment now. Please hold for those. If you have liked this video and you'd like to see me do more projects like this, please let me know by hitting that thumbs up button and subscribing if you haven't already. All comments, including advice, greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good week. I hope to see you again next week. Bye-bye.
I would feel safe and known, build something beautiful. mistakes, I'll show you why. If it works, we'll both fly. I make it with heart, every part. Loving the mess, loving the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still love.